Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pacific Pokemon Podcast. I'm Lindsay here, and today my favorite Pokemon this week is Farigiraf. I've been loving that giraffe way too much. So much fun.
And I'm also going to go with the giraffe this week. You know what? It's a double giraffe week.
We had a super giraffe
match earlier. Both of us brought giraffes. Two very different ones. One meant to stop the other. But yeah, it was a fun match.
Such a fun match, and such a fun Pokemon all in all, too. I absolutely just adore that giraffe. That thing is too much fun nowadays. So good.
So it's pretty cool.
It's such a good Pokemon into the Chien-Pao Dragonite core, which is just so common right now. Chien-Pao Dragonite or Chien-Pao Dragapult, which Dragapult doesn't have the priority moves, it just is faster. But even
and it also gets to not get hit by E-Speed.
Yeah, avoiding E-Speed. But then specifically that Farigiraf is also great against Fake Out, too.
Yep.
Counter Fake Out, counter Sucker Punch, counter E-Speed, counter Jet Punch when Palafin decides to make an appearance again. Few and far
Not
between.
Happening. Nope, sorry. Until they get people to start playing like self-procking red cards or something like that, I don't think we're going to see Palafin shenanigans really pop off. I just think that the fact that it has to swap out is just not going to work out further down the road in power creep.
Fair enough. I definitely can understand that, honestly. Like, the Pokemon has a bit of its own struggles, especially when it comes to being able to have a field presence immediately, which we're getting. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're getting to the big guns now. So it's like, what do you really want to do? Do you want to end up throwing your Palafin into the water and seeing it get chewed up and spit out by the god of space and time?
Yeah. Thankfully, we don't have the gods of space and time actually in competitive VGC right now. Thankfully, Palkia and Dialga are not.
So
that meta I might not play.
Still roll off pretty well for this regulation, I think. But I think once it gets restricted, it's Pala over.
Yeah, Palafin is on the decline and definitely on its way out, even with its favorite partner Chien-Pao.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have been kind of like pointing this out lately about how Chien-Pao kind of has its own awkward positioning problems too.
It really does. It's very squishy and it doesn't necessarily like taking damage. But there's a lot of times when it wants to just stay on the field and not do too much.
It really wants to stay there so its ability can enable its partner to get Okos. And it's so frustrating because, like, I just feel like we're in a world where sometimes we just need such a niche way to be able to drop defenses. Because, like, I mean, we're seeing, like, I'm using it like a Leer, Prankster, Thundurus.
Yeah, Leer on Thundurus. Such an intriguing tech.
Well, if it is able to go through, you're getting double in a way.
Yeah.
Of like a boost.
Yeah, because you get the defense drop on both Pokemon, and it actually works really well with physical spread moves like Earthquake or whatnot too.
And that's how I like to use it. Is I like to use it like I need Earth Luna to do things like not 2 turns from now, but like this next turn after it swaps in, it needs to pick up the Oko right now. So I go for the Leer in a swap.
Yep. Yeah.
Or my favorite tech, which I'm doing right now, is I have my Thundurus barely outspeeding my Urshifu.
Uh-huh.
So that way I'm able to get a Prankster Leer off, and then literally right in the next possible speed number is going to be my Urshifu for a Sucker Punch. So I can
Oh
go
yeah, for Sucker Punch, that's fair. Yep.
Leer Sucker Punch to pick up KOs on a lot of things. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no kidding.
A lot of Pokemon that do want to carry Protect right now do really need it. And that's one of their things that they kind of count on and rely on, is that Urshifu's priority is not going to work against that. But
yeah,
when you're using the Leer, they think they're going to be safe. They end up getting picked off by Sucker Punch right there in that turn too.
yep.
Which is a really strong lead that I've been using a lot, especially with Tera Dark. And because I got safety goggles on there, I don't care about Amoonguss making my Sucker Punch not do anything.
Fair enough, yeah. Amoonguss is definitely a nuisance. You know, redirection, Rage Powder.
I've seen it a lot lately. I don't know what it is, if it's like making a comeback in usage.
Good defensive typing and just the best support move pool of the generation currently.
My theory is everybody was like, oh no, we need a new Tera type for our Amoonguss. And then we didn't get any Tera type raids. And so everybody had to bench their Amoonguss because it didn't have the right Tera type.
And they didn't have enough shards yet.
That's kind of where I think a lot of things are going to be going. It's like, man, I really hope that nobody...
Are people going Tera Dark Amoonguss maybe or something to dodge the Prankster Taunt?
Yeah, usually the Tera Dark, that's what I ran in Regulation B and in C was Tera Dark.
I never ran into much Prankster Taunt outside of, I mean, literally Murkrow, so I was never too worried about it. I tended to just run Water Tera with my Amoonguss.
It's really good to run just Dark type because you become immune to one of its biggest weaknesses in Psychic.
True. But then you become weak to one of the biggest threats in the metagame, which is Flutter Mane. So, I mean, it's a give and take, right? But Amoonguss can also spore the Flutter Mane usually and put it to sleep for an easy solution to the Flutter problem. But yeah, let's dive into the actual episode here now, finally. Pokemon Sleep is now available across the globe. They released it slowly throughout the week, starting in like New Zealand and then working their way towards the US, being I think one of the last places that got it. However, we have it now. And the little Pokemon Sleep puck, Pokemon Go Plus accessory, that they're releasing with it, has already sold out on Nintendo and then come back available and will probably sell out again in the next few days, is my guess.
Yeah, until somebody is able to eventually come up with a bootleg one.
Yeah, hopefully. There's been bootleg versions of the other Pokemon Go related items, so it makes sense that they'll come out with something eventually.
Don't do it, because if you get caught, you get banned now.
That's unfortunate. Banned from Go, I assume.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can get banned from Pokemon Go now.
Yeah, Pokemon Company's just trying to...
And that kind of stretches into Pokemon Sleep in a way. I'd imagine so, because it's a TOS thing, and TOS things aren't always...
Yeah.
Like, they kind of usually keep up with each other to a degree.
Yeah, very true, very true. That's definitely kind of how Nintendo and Pokemon, especially the Pokemon Company, like to do things. Keep that terms of service all the way open everywhere. It's exactly the same, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What Pokemon did you get for your first night?
I actually have not downloaded Pokemon Sleep yet.
Still. How could you? You have
I know, right?
to.
I actually was thinking about it earlier.
Dozing off. I didn't realize until I saw that graph. I was like, man, it looks like I barely sleep with how much I'm in the yellow on the graph, like in the dozing section and not in the actual sleep, like true sleep areas. It's like, what am I doing all night? Am I just literally laying around and dissociating and not really paying attention to what's going on and not actually getting sleep? Is this all an illusion? I don't know.
Apparently, maybe.
I I do want to give a shout out to whoever like decided to throw in the game design bit for having background music play, like an ASMR music, like passively
Neat.
as an option when you play. Yeah, I think that's one of the cool little features. You can have like little Pokemon Center music kind of
Oh, that's cute.
quietly going in the background, like a new mix of the Pokemon Center theme.
That's awesome. I
A little
didn't
bit
know
more
that.
calm, a little bit more serene of the soundscape. Pretty cool.
That sounds like a fun time. I did not know that they had that in there. Yeah, I've honestly been meaning to get around to it. I just have not yet. I've been honestly trying to take a bit of a break from working so hard, but also been struggling with coming off of a short-term caffeine addiction, basically, where I was just extremely exhausted for many days in a row, trying to re-regulate my body chemistry. That was no fun. Thankfully, though, this weekend I'll probably end up downloading Sleep. I'll probably end up downloading it tonight and starting it up. But you got
very particular. We're recording pretty late tonight, so I gotta be a little bit wary about when we get off here, so that way I can get to bed on time. Because if you're not within 30 minutes of whatever time you set to be your bedtime, you miss out. You don't get to play that night.
Really?
You can play. You can open the app and still and do some other things, but you don't get to go and research new Pokemon unless you're asleep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you miss the time window, you actually just don't get to
Exactly
participate. How
That's why I said I've
often?
only been able to be on for like one night because it's been out for a few days now, and only one of those nights was I actually able to get properly set up in time before bed.
Gotcha. Jeez. I did not know that. I did not know that was how that worked. Okay. Does it allow you to change the time that you set for your bedtime?
I think it does. Yeah.
Okay. So, like, theoretically, you could just change your bedtime now and maybe be fine. Or maybe it would take effect tomorrow. I don't know. But
I don't know.
new
I'm not
app,
gonna
new
bust on
things.
this one, you know.
Totally fun. I've seen tons of people getting shinies already in Pokemon Sleep, which is so silly.
Shiny. I want a shiny.
You'll get one, I'm sure. I'm sure.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. In other game news, Pokemon Go did a pretty decent update as well, coming out with Zygarde and Routes. Now, Routes is supposed to be something where like players can input a route that they've walked, and then by repeating the route and doing the route, you get like extra buddy hearts and rewards potentially and stuff like that. But the problem players are having right now is that the actual physical routes, nobody's able to put them in. Nobody's able to add a new route. So, yeah, good job, Niantic, on that one. The sinking Titanic strikes once again.
Yeah. That's exactly what Niantic is. The Titanic.
But you know what? Maybe they'll figure it out and they'll patch it, and then it'll work correctly and people will be able to enjoy the new feature. Because it seems like it'll be fun, and it seems like a good, encouraging way to do routine walks, even, and to actually reward those who walk the same places a lot. Because you tend to always get more bonuses when you spin a new Pokestop instead of a Pokestop you've already visited. So walking the same place, you never, you don't normally get those extra perks because it's like, oh, well, it's not a new stop. You've already been here 100 times. So Routes hopefully fills that gap a little bit. But we'll see what they do when they manage to hopefully fix it, is what it's coming down to at the moment.
Yeah.
In Scarlet and Violet news, though, we got the normal Tera Rillaboom raid coming. Mightiest Mark Rillaboom, 6 IV, 7 star. Normal Tera. I'm assuming it's going to be normal Tera, either Boom Burst or like
It'll be Boomburst.
normal Tera Fake Owl.
Uh-uh. No, it'll be Boomburst for sure.
Which is unfortunate because Rillaboom is not a great special attacker. So I mean,
but it'll be annoying to deal with in raid.
it will
That's why we'll
be
use it.
ish. Is there a ghost fighting type in this game?
There's only one ghost fighting type ever,
Annihilate.
and his name is Marshadow.
There's
I
Annihilate.
forget about Annihilate.
Annihilate is the counter to this.
Yeah, Annihilate does do things into this.
Annihilate would be a very good counter.
And then
Rage Fist. Oh no, you can't Rage Fist.
Wait,
you would just Drain Punch.
Your buddy Pokemon in a raid?
Yes. You can target NPCs Defiant, without killing your
Defiant, and then like Prankster, Stat Drop. Your and you could also you couldn't do Rage Fist, but you could
I don't think Defiant actually procs from partner Pokemon targeting though. I think it only procs from opposing Pokemon. Yeah, I think that's specified on the ability.
From today years old.
Yeah, they thought about that one, you know. But even then, Annihilate, I think it's going to be the right call because drum beating. So Defiant will still get boosts from the drum beating from Rillaboom, which it probably will have. So either way, all in all, Annihilate is my guess going into this raid.
Fire Annihilate.
Yep. Or just go Tera fighting, honestly.
That too.
To get hard-hitting drain punches. You know, I tend to end up building different versions.
It's so weird from regular, like, conventional Pokemon battles. I forget what's good and what's not.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, heck, Iron Hands might be really good here. I'm honestly considering Iron Hands alongside a Pincurchin.
Iron Hands
be phenomenal in
but that's
this
meme,
raid.
Though, right? Iron Hands is the only Pokemon you need to beat a raid.
This is true. Iron Hands is basically the raid mon. Iron Hands and Azumarill. If you have the two of them, you've got 85% of raids covered.
It's true.
It's 100% true. That's all of my experience in raids. And then like a Golden Go tossed in there randomly does really good as a final third coverage. On top of that, Nasty Plot Golden Go with recover, get cakewalk. So easy.
But yeah, in other news, we got the NinoPokeBros tournament this last week.
Yes, NinoPokeBros Friendly Fight number 70. Almost 600 players registered and competed for that.
From our little network of Pacific Pokemon Podcast people.
Indeed.
We got Show, Aki, C Buddy, and then Lindsay and I from the server in Discord who all competed this last weekend.
So shout out to everybody.
Shout out to everybody. We didn't have any top cutters, but we had a lot of people come really close.
We did. We had a couple of fun people hanging out with us too. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
That tournament was wild. Honestly.
Yeah, day one was crazy. 66% Flutter main usage, and Urshifu Rapid Strike sitting at 45 for first and second.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, not surprised whatsoever. Everybody could have guessed those two were going to be the top of Regulation D meta right now.
Yeah, some different fake-ups that happened is that Hisui and Arcanine is seeing way more play than Cantonian.
True.
And a big reason for that is just that it has a little bit better defensive coverage with its stats and how it works out, I'm pretty sure. With its
with the rock typing, it has way better coverage and it has a very fast rock slide. I think that's a lot of the reason why it's doing so well. It has the fastest rock slide that has existed pretty much in a competitive format, other than Aerodactyl.
To a couple of things, but you can always Tera type out of that. And in those kinds of situations, when you see an earth move, when you see a ground type move, or a fighting type move, or a water type move coming, those are all things that you can see from a mile away, and you can usually deal with in some fashion with Hisui and Arcanine, because it does all the same things as regular Arcanine, with like a little bump to damage.
A tiny bump to HP and a tiny bump to attack, if I remember correctly, is what Hisui and Arcanine gets over Cantonian Arcanine.
I think it's 5 points in each.
Yep, I believe so. But access to the Stab Rock Slide coverage at that speed tier is phenomenal. Really good. It already has the extreme speed. It already had Wild Charge, and it still gets Wild Charge. Plus, I think the other important detail in terms of typing and Tera typing is you can invest in one Tera to resist both of its main 4X weaknesses. Both ground and water are resisted by grass. So there's a very clear, obvious, good choice Tera type as well.
Stab options are coverage for flying.
Exactly. Your fire type and your rock type are coverage for fire, flying, ice, and bug. Everything that hits grass for super effectively gets hit so hard by your own coverage moves and your own stab.
It's super overlooked in so many ways. I'm still exploring this Pokemon a lot right now.
Yeah, I think Hisui and Arcanine is honestly phenomenal. I really love that Pokemon, and I think it definitely has a great spot growing in the meta right now.
And moving on to another Pokemon I used in the NinoPokeBros tournament, Cantonian Articuno had more usage overall in this tournament than Palafin did.
Yeah, that is true. Cantonian Articuno had tons of usage in this tournament, honestly. A lot more than I expected.
It's really not bad. Its ability enables it to sit behind a pseudo wall when it already has access to those really important walling moves like Roost, and it also gets the Tailwind too. You get a lot of different utility on top of being able to essentially shoot for free Blizzard spams and see if you can get freezes off.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, like it's phenomenal. Cantonian Articuno is in a much better position than it ever has been, I think, in previous metas, other than kind of the Mind Reader Sheer Cold bit in Sword Shield. Mind Reader Sheer Cold was fun.
The best thing about it.
But past that, it was kind of a gimmick, and it was fairly easy to play around. I mean, if you taunted it, you knew it wasn't going to succeed.
Sheer Cold Articuno is not played right now, but I feel like it should be.
I mean, Sheer Cold Articuno is the same thing as Fissure Ting-Lu, but with less just passive field support.
And it can heal itself.
Yeah, it can heal itself. That's the big difference there. Articuno has Roost, which is a very good healing move. But
if you're not doing damage with Articuno, that means you can run Ting-Lu Fissure next to it.
Oh my goodness. And just run an entire team of one-hit KO moves. Toss a King Gambit in there with Guillotine.
Having Oko moves on every Pokemon on your team became a Twitter trend for like about last week for a little bit.
A little while. Jeez. Of course it did. Of course it did. We have enough good Pokemon to use one-hit KO moves now too. With Chanpao, with Articuno, with King Gambit, Landorus, Ting-Lu, Torkoal as a niche pick with Fissure, but even then, still a good one. Yeah, definitely interesting. The tournament had a lot of really good players. Kudos to Marco Fierro, who ended up winning the whole tournament. with Chanpao, Dragonite, Urshifu, Heatran, Rillaboom, and Fluttermane. Literally meta core. He brought the top 6 Pokemon in the entire meta game in terms of usage. Put all of them on a team and said, huzzah, it's gonna work. And surprise, surprise, it worked.
And the big reason why it works is because he was piloting it. And Marco Fierro is a really good player. His team takes a lot of really good positioning, a lot of good predictions to be able to really perform at a top level. So I mean, it seems like a really high skill floor to get into with this team, but he was able to execute with it phenomenally.
Fantastically, going 15-2 in the Swiss record, or in the total record at the end of the tournament. Really, really well done. Really well done. So kudos to Marco Fierro. His team was very straightforward there, honestly. I don't feel like there's anything out of the ordinary to discuss in the slightest there. I mean, Assault Vest, Rillaboom, Booster Energy, Water Tera, Fluttermane, Scarf on the Urshifu is kind of the only interesting tech in the slightest bit. You know, with the leftovers Heatran, Choice Band, Dragonite, and Sash Chanpao. I guess it's also decent to note that he was running the Inner Focus Dragonite instead of the Multiscale, just to keep that offense.
I think with this team, Marco kind of like ordered. He went to the diner and he's like, "I'll have Old Reliable. Give me some corned beef hash."
Pretty much.
It's plain. It's simple. Easy to eat.
I feel like this is almost like chalk, just a new version.
Almost, but I mean,
there's no Cresselia in there, but it's Urshifu basically in place of Kangaskhan, right? And then you just, instead of Cresselia Landorus, have more offense.
I would say that Fluttermane can fill the Cresselia slot in chalk.
Yeah, that too. Fluttermane is just so dominant, and its special bulk is phenomenal.
It's got one of the highest, if not the highest, special bulk in the game, I think.
135. So it's 135. One of the top. Obviously, Blissey is at the same. Florgs has higher special defense. Florgs, if I remember correctly, is like base 154. An interesting flower. Yeah, Florges.
154. Why is nobody using the? Oh,
did I get my numbers right?
It's 154 for this SpD for Florges. Carbink 150, Goodra 150.
That's right, Goodra.
Toxapex 142.
That's right.
Blissey.
Yeah, Blissey at 135. Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Blissey's always been a really good special tank.
Triagonal at 135.
Mm-hmm. Levitating icicle or snowflake is special defensive, but that's it. Oh yeah.
And of course, yeah, but the thing is about Cryogonal is it's got a better HP stat, so the fact that even though it has 5 points defense lower than Fluttermane, it actually has better physical bulk.
Yeah, it'll overall have better physical bulk just because it has a notably better HP. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cryogonal is surprisingly bulky. It just doesn't have enough to set it apart. You know? It would be good in Series A. Or Series 1.
Yeah, I really think that Cryogonal has its niche in Regulation D.
I think its niche is like Regulation A Snow Team. Is where I think that thing could have really shined. And I think it would have been explored if they had done that regulation longer. But
yeah, I think it could do all next to Ursaluna.
I mean, potentially, yeah. It is a good levitate Pokemon, and it has a really good special defense. So you could theoretically maybe pull like a Tera Ice Punch Ursaluna in the snow next to levitating snow boosted Cryogonal.
You leave Ursaluna alone. It's fine. You get rid of the bad typing on the Cryogonal.
Fine. Yeah, give it a Rock Tera and run Sandstorm.
Does it get him?
Then it gets an even better special defense boost. No, you just run like a Tyranitar on the team. You know? T-Tar, Ursaluna, Cryogonal. It's not a terrible core so far.
Maybe Rain Dance? It gives Rain Dance.
It does get Rain Dance. Okay.
You could do like Rain Dance, Tera Water, Tera Blast next to Ursaluna.
Rain Dance, Tera Water, Tera Blast. Interesting.
Or set up Rain for a
Basculegion or Overquill or Urshifu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be interesting. Definitely. Cryogonal, very underexplored Pokemon. One that maybe we should theory craft a legitimate team around in the near future.
No, maybe not. Let's not do that.
Snowflake team. Let's do that as it gets into winter or something. You know?
That's fine. That's fine.
As we get into winter, do a Snowflake team.
But I don't think you'll find me putting out a team with Cryogonal on it, saying that you should seriously use this team.
Oh, of course not seriously. Just as a good ladder, catch people by surprise. Best of one cheese. But back to the Nino tournament.
Yeah. Sam Powell was 4th overall in usage. That's one thing I noticed about this one.
Chen Pao was very, very common in the tournament for good reason, honestly. I mean, of the ruinous Pokemon, Chen Pao is phenomenal. And a lot of the new Pokemon... It is, yeah. And a lot of the new Pokemon that people have been enjoying using are also physical. So Landorus and Urshifu and Rillaboom are all good physical attackers. So these new Pokemon that are coming in that people are excited to use benefit from having Chen Pao around. Hisuian Goodra, Hisuian Arcanine, Hisuian Lilligant, Basculegion, every one of these leans on the physical side.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ursaluna as well, before I forget to mention the Moon Bear. Speaking of the Moon Bear, not as much Moon Bear as I expected at Nino's tournament.
There were not many Moon Bear players in this. In Top Cut, there I see one.
Yeah, one Moon Bear in Top Cut. One came just out of Top Cut in 9th place.
And it's next to the Clodsire, too. Oh, no, there's 2. Ponka from Chile was running Ursaluna at number 24. And Yuzu at number 15.
Are you looking at the day 2 or the combined?
Oh, I'm looking at the day 2.
Because the combined has the Top Cut total standings. However, Ponka did use that Ursaluna. I do see Ponka there. Bringing the Ursaluna. Ponka from Chile.
Not in the top 8, but then there's Yume using it in number 9.
Yep. Freeze-Eye coming in with the Ursaluna. Freeze-Eye's always been a good player too. So that's not surprising that he would bring something good to a tournament. Surprise, surprise, right? And then Lazici bringing in the only player with the Cantonian Arcanine, specifically as well.
The only one.
No, not the only one. Yume also in 8th place running that Cantonian Arcanine. I thought that was a Hisuian one at first, but no, that is actually the Cantonian Arcanine too. So both of the top Arcanines that made any performances were still the classic Cantonian Arcanine. That's interesting. Definitely interesting. Really would have expected to see the Hisuian Arcanine showing up before the Cantonian Arcanine in this tournament. However, the Hisuian Arcanine showing up in 6th by Pickle Dog and Cantonian in 5th overall. Very close, though. Very close. Giraffe came in 2nd place, though. And both of us are loving that train, obviously, right now. That Giraffe is so much fun.
As long as priority is good, which will be always, Giraffe will have its place.
Indeed. And it's honestly a really good Imprison Trick Room user with naturally solid bulk, it's also one of the few Pokemon that's able to take a final
20
Gambit.
days.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the only Pokemon able to take final Gambit from Annihilate. And still set Trick Room should it decide to. And desire to.
Yep.
But yeah, not as much Tornadus in the top cut anywhere near. There was no Tornadus in top cut whatsoever. There was a single Tornadus in top 10 at 10th place. However, quite a few Thundurus showing up. Thundurus in 3rd and 4th. And Thundurus.
Too.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yep, 7th also had Thundurus Therian. So Thundurus currently coming in as the favorite of the genies. Landorus came in highest place at 3rd, but Thundurus has the most usage. Looks like we're going back to the Sword Shield meta a little bit more, at least in Open Team Sheets formats. Yeah. Golden Go usage was up quite a bit as well in this tournament. Golden Go at 39% usage in Nino's tournament, which is really phenomenal. Very surprising there, honestly. Anyway, massive tournament that was. Huge turnout. They doubled the prize money day before the event as well, which was really cool. Originally coming in at $500, and then an additional donor dropped another $500 the night before, bringing that 600-person tournament to a $1,000 prize pool.
That stream the night before was popping off like crazy. Like I don't think Nino's ever seen that high of a level of a hype stream in Twitch before.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think so. If I remember correctly, he actually said in his Discord the next day, while the tournament was going on, that stream the night before was the biggest stream he had ever had.
Yeah, he did. I think it was too.
I do recall, I believe, him saying that, which not surprising, but also at the same time incredible and just wow. So much wow.
Yeah, but moving on, that's all right.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk a little bit about the Yokohama road to Yokohama that happened on the 8th and 9th earlier this month.
Yeah.
And now this was the team. They're not the team. The team. This is the tournament that had the Ursaluna show up.
Yes, this was the team with tons of Ursaluna show. This is the tournament. Jeez, we're both saying the same mistakes here. You did. You totally got me there. This is the tournament where Ursaluna was a lot more dominant. Definitely of recent tournaments. Also another large tournament. I think 370 something players for this tournament.
Not just
for
Ursaluna,
Victory Road,
but also the Duck. Yeah, Cresselia also showing up even without Ursaluna.
Moon Duck, top 3, all of them. And you know, the only thing that I really want to cover about this tournament, because I know a lot of content creators have already covered it, and this tournament happened a few weeks ago, so we're not super gonna go in depth on this one. But the team that won this by Tiago Latanzi, his Cresselia is a stored power, calm mind, ghost Tera Cresselia.
It's almost like he took his closed team format Pokemon team for ladder and just used it in a tournament, and it worked anyway.
That's very possible. I kind of have to agree. Yeah, that I definitely get where you mean there.
And
I feel like that Cresselia, though, is just the ultimate Moon Bear counter. Ghost Terror to ignore the facade, Levitate to ignore all of your ground type moves. Most of them weren't running Crunch at that time either, and so you could just freely Calm Mind in front of it and then just drop stored powers to decimate the entire rest of its team.
Yep.
Interesting tech. Definitely one of the most different Cresselia spreads I've seen so far this season. Shout out to Tiago there from Brazil, I believe. That's the Brazilian flag. I thought I recognized that one. Yeah, and if you were looking for prize money too, that was the tournament to compete in. $1,300 to the winner, $650 to second place, $320 to third and fourth, and $160 for the rest of Top Cut. So, a lot of really good tournaments there, and some of the same people showing up as well. In other smaller tournaments news, recently there was Beanie Brawl number 20 as well. Just wanted to throw a huge shout out to friend of the channel, Neil VGC, who pulled off a victory in that tournament with Roaring Moon Balance. Regulation C, Roaring Moon Balance. And he won, beating Joe UX9, beating Justin Tang, and a couple other people in standing, at least, to get to the top of that.
Yep.
Congrats to him. Shout out, dude. Good job. Well done bringing the Roaring Moon and making it work. Go ahead.
So for our random calc this week, we got playing special attack, Life Orb Speed Heat Wave versus 252 HP with 20 special defense. Hisui Goodra, affected by Beads of Ruin, is a guaranteed 3-hit KO. If you went with a little bit more investment, you'll be rolling on a 2-hit KO. But the important part to note here is that as long as there is, so because Goodra has no option to body press, especially if it's a Tera Ghost, it can't do anything into the Flutter. It just goes down into a 3-hit KO scenario.
So I think,
as long as there's no Grimmsnarl partnered with Goodra.
I think that calc was actually in combination to the one he posted earlier.
Is it in combination?
Mm-hmm.
It is in combination. Oh, with the Moonblast.
With the Terra Fairy Moonblast. Yeah.
It gets you to 6 how much is that? Terra Fairy Twist Specs. Yeah. So in combination with the
So specifically, I think if I remember right from looking at it earlier,
with 108 special attack, you get into your Twist Specs Fluttermane.
Yep.
And 228 Life Orb to you. Heatwave Moonblast will guarantee KO on a Goodra.
And that's a super specially defensive Goodra too. That's a max HP 236 special defense Hisui and Goodra. Mm-hmm. So that's a very specially bulky Hisui and Goodra.
Oh, I must have misread the screen earlier.
So that's a really good calc. The Chiyu Fluttermane lead literally just deletes Hisui and Goodra as long as it doesn't have a Grimmsnarl partner to click light screen.
Makes me want to bring out the Flutterfish again.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, that's Terra Fairy Fluttermane specifically as well. So it does require you to use your terrestrialization, and yeah, you have to have a choice specs on there. So, you know, it's not foolproof per se. Obviously, there's ways to play around that.
Invest in more. I think this was bare minimum for attack investment.
Yeah, it was like 108 special attack. So I mean, obviously, Fluttermane could do more.
I think if you're running 252 special attack specs, you don't need to Tera.
That's possible. That's very possible. You do get a decent chunk of stats out of that. That Fluttermane calc also gives you plenty of space to focus more on some bulk and speed, which is nice. However, obviously, you're never going to be surviving that Hisui and Goodra's heavy slam anyway.
But it's not going to get there.
Nope, not against the Chiyu Fluttermane. And so that's the calc offered up by our Discord, and I actually found some other fun calcs.
Morris for that one.
Yeah, thank you, Morris T, for that. Really appreciate the participation from everybody. You guys have been great giving us calcs so that we can bring them up and talk about things and keep everybody informed on what's performing well in the meta and how things perform against each other. It's a lot of fun to do this. I really enjoy being able to share educational information that can help people in building their Pokemon. On the other side here, I found a fun Thundurus, bulky support Thundurus calc through Twitter. So I'm going to drop those calcs here. We're looking at 236 EV, 108 defense, and 156 special defense with a calm nature. Gives a lot of good bulk there. Specifically, let's see, with the calm nature, there is a 6.3% chance. There it is. Yep, 6.3% chance for Urshifu to Oko with Tera Water. So 252 Adamant, Mystic Water, Tera Water, Urshifu Rapid Strikes, Surging Strike has a 1 in 16 chance to KO. 1 damage roll.
That's not bad. That's almost a crit roll.
Well, that's Surging Strikes, so that's guaranteed crit. Which is that's the nice part there. You're guaranteed to survive that crit in effect.
You're just taking the rolls with Urshifu.
Yeah, exactly.
Man,
and then against
how many times have you been high rolled on that second punch? Surging Strike. That, for whatever reason,
it's the way that it shows. It's the way that the bar moves.
Oh, I'm not crazy.
Nah, I've watched enough content across YouTube of Urshifu Rapid Strike clicking Surging Strikes. That second one always looks like it does more damage than either of the other two. Every single time it looks like it does more.
It's just how it looks with the grass.
But it's just the way that the calcs are displayed with how the HP bar drops. I think it's something to do with the HP bar dropping into the yellow. Because usually that's when it's dropping into the yellow as well.
Yep.
You know? That it looks like it really does a lot more. But that Thundurus also survives the Wicked Blow from Black Glass's Max Attack Urshifu Single Strike, not the Dark Tera version. It's doing 80 to 95%. So guaranteed to survive that. Yep. The Tera does not allow you to survive it, but without Tera Dark on that Urshifu, you take that and retaliate. It also pairs up great against Tera Normal, E-Speed Dragonite, able to survive it 25% of the time. It survives Fluttermane's Moonblast, Tera Fairy Specs 116 Moonblast. This Thundurus build is phenomenal, guys. So, definitely grab that. Past that, I think that's going to be about it for us this week. A little bit lighter on the episode once again, this time mostly just because there's not as much to cover. A couple of tournaments, and that's about it. So, thanks so much everybody for coming out and checking us out again. Y'all have a great day. We'll catch ya on the next one. Peace.